Alright guys, today's August 3rd, and we're going to take a look at how to apply Venn diagrams to actual problem solving. So we're going to apply Venn diagrams. Alright. So here, we've got an example where 64 people are surveyed. So 64 people surveyed. Okay. And what we find is when we surveyed those people, we find that 45 people believe Elvis is still alive. Right? 49 believe they've been abducted. So we'll go by aliens. And then 42 believe both. Okay. So what we're asked to find out is, question, right? How many believe neither? Right? And we also want to know how many believe Elvis is alive but don't believe they were abducted. So how many Elvis alive, not abducted? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a Venn diagram to set this up. So here, we take a look. It's a survey of 64 people, but then we get these results of 45 people believe Elvis is alive and 49 believe they've been abducted by aliens. Now, clearly that's 94 people, right? And so how does that sync with this 64, right? What's going to happen is we're going to find, well, there's 42 people that believe both. So there's going to be some overlap here, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at this problem using a Venn diagram, right? So we're going to go ahead, we're going to create our sample space. So here is U, right, which is our entire population. And in there we're going to have two circles, right? And we can label them AB, or we can label them EA, right? So let's go with EA, right? So this one's going to be Elvis is alive, and this one's going to be abducted by aliens, okay? So if we take a look here, the first thing we'll start with is the fact that we know there's 42 people that believe both of these things. So right here in the middle where this overlaps, this is going to be 42. All right. Now if we know that there's 45 in E, right, in all of E, and 42 are in the middle, right, so we're going to do 45 minus 42 to find that there are 3 people in this space right here. Okay. Now likewise, we have 49 who believe they were abducted, so that's 49 in all of A. But again, if 42 are accounted for in the middle, we're going to find that there are 7 in this space right here. Okay? Hopefully that kind of makes sense. All right? Now what we can do is we've got these 3 distinct regions here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add them together, right? And we already know 42 plus 7 is 49. And then we're going to add 3 more and we get to 52. Now there's 64 total people. So finally, if we take a look at 64 minus the 52 people we've already accounted for, we find that there are 12 people that are in this space where they were surveyed, right? But they didn't believe Elvis were alive, right? And so if we go ahead and do that, we can now go ahead and answer these questions fairly straightforward. So how many people believe neither of these things, right? Well, 12 people believe neither, right? So we have 12 people that believe neither. Right? And then how many believe that Elvis is alive, but don't believe they're abducted by aliens? There's 3. So 3 believe Elvis is alive, and they haven't been abducted. So here you can see kind of how these problems are going to set up, where you're going to be given a partial set of information and you're going to have to find out the rest of it, right? And we're going to use Venn diagrams to help us do that. So this one was pretty easy. It was a 2-circle possibility for Venn diagrams. You guys are going to take a look at one of those again tonight. That's going to be 2 circles. And we're going to take a look at a 3-circle example now, and then you're also going to try a 3-circle example tonight for your homework as well. All right, so let's get started on the 3-circle question. All right, so instead of writing this one down, we're going to go ahead and just kind of talk about it, right? So this one was conducted. There was a survey of students at Franklin Academy concerning the Jonas Brothers. And what we found out was that there were 51 for Kevin, right? They really admired him. There were 49 that admired Joe. And of course, there were 60 that admired Nick, right? Now here, with 3 circles, we're going to have to get more data, right, in order to be able to complete this set. So here, there's 34 that admired both Kevin and Joe, right? There were 32 that admired Joe and Nick, right? And then there were 36, right, that admired Kevin and Nick, right? There's 24 that admired all. And then there was one that admired none, right? That's when they asked me. I was like, wait, who are the Jonas Brothers? Yeah, so it's one of those things, right? So now here, when we take a look at this one, I'm going to draw it slightly larger, give myself a little bit more room, right? We need 3 circles, right? So 1, 2, and then here, 3, right? So here are our 3 circles, right? And we can label them whatever we want, but it's probably going to make sense to go ahead and go with Kevin, right? Joe, and Nick. Right? And we're going to start with where they overlap the most, right? So right here, we've got this space in the middle, which is 24 that admire all of them. So there's 24 that admire all of them, right? Now, if we take a look at this region right here, this represents Kevin and Joe, right? So if you like Kevin and Joe Jonas. Now, this 24, they like Kevin and Joe, right? But there's 34 total that like Kevin and Joe. So I'm going to subtract the 24 for all and find that there are 10 in just this space right here. Okay? Now we're going to go and take a look at Joe and Nick, right? So Joe and Nick is 32, right? So again, we got 32 for Joe and Nick, but 24 of them have already been counted for, so there's 8 in this space right here. That's just Joe and Nick, okay? And then finally, we're going to take a look at Kevin and Nick. So here, Kevin and Nick, there's 36 in that space. So 36 for Kevin and Nick. We're going to subtract the 24 in the middle. We're going to find there's 12 in this space that are just Kevin and Nick. Okay. Now, what we want to do here is now focus on the large circles here. So 51, 49, and 60, right? We're going to start with Kevin. So there's supposed to be 51 in all of this circle, right? But if I look here, I've got 24 and 12 is 36, and 10 is 46, but there's supposed to be 51. So what that means is that there are 5 that solely admire Kevin, right? So the way we did that was we went ahead and we said, well, there's 51 in the K circle, right? But we had to subtract, right, the 12 for the Kevin and Nick. We had to subtract the 10 for the Joe and Kevin, right? And then we had to subtract the 24 for all 3, right? And that's how we got down to just this 5, right? Now we're going to do the same thing here for Joe, right? So Joe, there's only 49 that like Joe. He's kind of pathetic. I think we can all agree, all right, unless you're one of those 49. So here we're going to go ahead. We're going to add those numbers together, right? So 24 and 8 is 32, and 10 is 42. So it's going to be 49 minus the 42 we've already accounted for. We find there's 7 that solely like Joe, right? Now the last one we're going to look at here is going to be Nick, right? So 12 and 24 is 36. 36 and 8 is 44. So we're going to do 60 minus 44, and we get 16 here, right? So it's going to be 16 that only like Nick and don't care for Kevin or Joe, right? And then we can't forget that there's one more person just hiding out here when they asked me, and I'm like, wait, who are the Jonas Brothers? Clearly I don't have a favorite. I don't even know their names, all right? Wasn't long at all. All right, so again here, now we can answer any questions about this, right? So maybe we want to know how many people were surveyed, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at that number, right? And there's lots of different ways to do this. What I like to do is I like to start with my biggest circle, right? So I know that this is 60, and then I just have to add 5 plus 10 plus 7 plus 1, right? So 60 plus 5 is 65, plus 10 is 75, plus 7 is 82, plus 1 is 83. So we know there was 83 people surveyed. Right? And maybe we want to know how many admire Nick, but not Joe or Kevin. So who are only Nick people? Well, that's easy to see, right? 16 admire Nick, but not Joe or Kevin. Okay. How many admire Joe or Nick, right? So our Joe or Nick space. Now here, Joe or Nick, where this whole circle overlaps, we got 24 plus 8 is 32. We already knew that. That was given to us, right? How many admire Joe or Nick? So 32 admire Joe or Nick. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Joe or Nick. My apologies. So what are we actually talking about here? I'm wrong. My apologies. All right, so Joe or Nick. What that means, Joe or Nick, is we're talking about the people in this circle and the people that are in this circle. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to start again with Nick, who's 60, but then we're going to add this 10 and this 7. So 60 plus 10 is 70, plus 7 is 77. So there's 77 people that would fall into the category of, do you admire Joe or Nick? 77 would have said yes. So 77 admire Joe or Nick. All right. How many admire exactly one of the Jonas Brothers? So here that's just adding up these sections right here. So 5 and 7 is 12. 12 and 16 is 28. So 28, right? You could say admire only one Jonas brother. Okay. And then how many admire exactly two of the Stooges? So 2, no more, no less. 2, no more, no less. So it's going to be these sections here. So 12, 8, and 10. So 12 and 8 is 20, and 10 is 30. So 30 admire exactly 2 Jonas Brothers. All right. So again, you go to a party, you can go ahead and replicate this on your own, go around the room just asking people, hey, how many of the Jonas Brothers do you love? I think you'll be surprised. And go ahead and just ask yourself, who's your favorite Jonas brother? All right. It's okay. You can say it out loud. You can say it proud. Nobody's going to judge you. This is a safe space. All right. The homework tonight, again, you guys are going to look at a 2 circle and a 3 circle on your own. This is pretty much going to be the focus for the week. Okay. So on, I guess, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to go ahead and go over those, and then we'll practice some more. All right. Email me if you have questions.